Hey, I'm Liv, and I love the creativity of makeup. I like to create videos about that and more focus on expressing yourself and having fun with makeup than on the consumerism portion of it. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please do stick around and subscribe down below. For now, I have a brand new series that I'd like to introduce you to, Swatches on Scars. Okay, I know it sounds a little weird, but basically, I like watching people swatch things, and I've noticed that when people have tattoos, I particularly enjoy that because then I can see how thick and opaque or transparent or shimmery the makeup is. It helps me with a whole bunch of things. I happen to have a whole bunch of scars. These in particular are pretty good ones. So I thought, be proud of my scars, I'm gonna swatch makeup on them. As a side note, if you're interested, this hand doesn't work super well. So that's why I was swatching with this hand on this arm. So let's get to it. For this first ever video in the Swatches on Scars series, we're going to be swatching the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. This is the first Natasha Denona palette I've ever gotten because it was on sale at Sephora. I don't spend big money on eyeshadow. I like getting colorful stuff too much for me to spend hundreds of dollars on things like that. I'm wearing this eyeshadow on my face today. I put this on many hours ago, and the only thing that's happened since then is that this eye has started watering a little bit and I made my eyeliner run. Everything else has stayed really well. So let's get to the swatches. First things first, we have this matte, beautiful purple shade called Flint. I'm gonna rub my finger generously in it, and then I'm gonna swipe it on my arm. Interesting. Next we have this metallic-y duochrome sort of purple shade called Lenin. This can't be in the correct order. Hold please. I'm gonna swatch this and check. Just one swipe. I almost did a double swipe, but we'll do one. And finally, most definitely since this is a middle shade, this is Raisin, a matte sort of rich brown, reddy, plummy shade. Actually, I think I gotta even that up a bit. That's very interesting. That shade totally covered the scars more, much more creamy. I have heard the purples are harder to formulate, so I wonder if that's part of this. Okay, so sorry to confuse you. This is backwards. I thought that the shade names corresponded with what was exactly in front of them, but it is in fact a mirror image. So what we have here is Boysenberry, Blue Dahlia, Raisin, and now Lenin. I feel a strange aversion to swatching. Like it feels like such a waste of product. I know I see people doing these big, lavish, thick, glossy swatches, and I'm kind of like, oh no, save the product. But for this experimentation, we're gonna do it. Lenin. I did a double swipe, but that was already thick and creamy and completely covered the scar. It is very different to Blue Dahlia. It is a metallic, thick, creamy shimmer. Blue Dahlia is definitely more of a heavy top coat. Very interesting. And now we're finally gonna go into Flint. That was really interesting. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep swatching on those scars. I've got a nice bunch of keloids over there that I might use. But I think it's a really interesting experience to swatch on uneven skin and uneven texture, which I feel like might be realistic, considering the fact that my eyes are already droopy and hooded. As I age, they're going to become more hooded, the skin's going to wrinkle, and it's going to be harder to put eyeshadow on. I'm very interested to know how eyeshadow applies on skin that is not perfect. And this is definitely not perfect skin. Neither is my eyes, but this is more textured at the moment. Boysenberry is the weakest matte in this palette. It is a beautiful berry purple, but to be totally honest, I could not notice any difference on my eyes. In the video that you can see of me applying this, I didn't notice any difference between Raisin and Boysenberry. The warmth in Boysenberry ended up turning it into sort of a reddish browny shade anyways. So those two shades kind of feel redundant. I certainly feel that it could have been a different toned purple, perhaps quite a bit lighter and cooler to contrast the deep warmth of Raisin. Speaking of Raisin, that's a lovely matte. It's thick and creamy, and in just one swipe, it covered these scars. There aren't many significant gaps. It's almost as though I was trying to cover the scars and I wasn't. I was just trying to paste the shadow on there. It did pretty well. You can see me applying it here, and I found it extremely easy to apply. There was no patchiness, it was super easy to blend out, and it has worn very well throughout the day. The depth and darkness of the look has stayed for many hours, which is pretty impressive actually. I won't say that there aren't affordable eyeshadows shadows that I have that do the exact same thing. But this is really what I'm looking for, so it succeeded in that. Flint, satisfactory. It's an excellent brown. It's nice and thick, and it applied just like raisin and completely covered all the scars. It's actually a little powdery, but in kind of a moist way. Wet, moist. Do you hate the word? Whichever. So there's a little bit of product that's actually sitting on top of my skin there in excess just from swatching it. I buffed it all over my transition area and it worked really nicely. It is, however, quite a subdued tone. I almost feel like this palette is made for someone with a slightly lighter skin tone than me, and that's it. I don't think this would work as a transition area necessarily for someone much deeper than me. If you're very deep, perhaps it could be a brow bone highlight or something like that, but I'm not sure. Blue Dahlia, excellent. It's a bummer that it is more of a thick top coat or a thin shimmer. I wish that it was creamy and luscious like Lenin, but it's not. It's a totally different formula. It is much thinner. You could use it as a top coat over something, which I guess then is a benefit if you're pairing this with a different palette, is that you could use Blue Dahlia as a top coat. I tend to like shimmers that are thick and creamy and go over anything that's underneath them, so I'm a little bummed. And then Lenin. I'm not a huge neutral fan, so I don't really have high hopes or high expectations for any neutral shade in general, but Lenin is excellent. It's like my Juvia's Place shadows combined with my Give Me Glow shadows. Give Me Glow being thick and sticky and clumpy, and Juvia's Place being creamy and solid and metallic. Lenin is an excellent combination of the two. It's creamy, but it's also quite sticky and thick. It's actually a little softer than I expected too. And actually, now that I look at it, it has creased and transferred a little, so it is a very soft shade. I definitely see it in my wrinkles and settled into my fine lines, so there's that. All in all, I wasn't hugely impressed with this palette when I first got it. I thought that it was extremely overpriced at its base price. At $12.50, which is what I got it for at the Sephora sale, I think it's perfectly acceptable and performs pretty well. It's definitely not my favorite though, and I still don't get the Natasha Denona hype. So that's it. That's my swatches and scars and my thoughts. As an added bonus about the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. Man, that's a mouthful. I can't tell you how many times I messed that up. You try say that 5 times fast. I won't do that again. If you found this video helpful, interesting, fun, intriguing, delightful, whatever, please do stick around and subscribe, click that like button, and leave me a comment with your thoughts about this palette. Also, if you would like to see a specific palette swatched on scars, let me know down below. I might have it, and if I don't, I might be interested in getting it. I think this is gonna be interesting. What do you think? Wherever you are, I hope you're having the best day that you possibly can. Be kind to the people around you, and thanks for hanging out.